4 of the 2017 FIM Sidecar World Championship brings the outfits to Assen in the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. The penultimate event of the campaign is a single feature race, one of the highlights of the TT Circuit's annual Gamma Racing Day. The 2017 Hungarian Grand Prix marked the midway stage of the season, with the Pannonia Ring playing host to the second two-race weekend of the campaign. Unbeaten with 3 race wins already recorded in the first 2 rounds of the season, Ben and Tom Birchall came into the event as favourites. It was once again a dominant weekend for the British duo. The initial staging of the sprint race didn't even make it to the completion of the opening lap. A crash for Bachmeier and Weschelberger bringing out the red flags, but enabling them to rejoin the grid for a second time of asking. When the race did get back underway, it was Päivärinta and Kainalainen who made the swiftest getaway. Holden and Wilkes also briefly alongside the Birchall brothers before they surged back through in pursuit of the leaders. And it didn't take long for the Yamaha runners to return to their customary role up front, notching their 4th successive win of the campaign. The fight for 3rd position in the race lasted a great deal longer, Stroyer and Rousseau keeping pace with Holden and Wilkes, but unable to deny the Brits a 3rd successive podium appearance. Meanwhile, further down the order, the race was also notable as the lowest scoring effort of the campaign for Team SLR, who dropped 4 points further back from main rivals Grabmuller and Kirchhofer with a 9th place finish. No stopping Ben and Tom Birchall, over a second a lap faster than Päivärinta and Kainalainen behind them for the 9-lap duration. The 2 former champion outfits finishing 1st and 2nd in each of the opening 4 races of the season. The Pannonia Ring's gold race kicked off the second half of the World Championship campaign, but results followed an unchanged form book, each of the top 8 finishing positions matching those from the sprint. Päivärinta and Kainalainen were involved in the bulk of the action, holding the lead in the early stages and holding off Ben and Tom Birchall for a lap before the inevitable move was made. Seemingly unsettled by dropping back and attempting to stay with the leaders, the Finns ran wide and off the circuit, leaving Holden and Wilkes to provisionally occupy their best position of the season. But Päivärinta and Kainalainen found their way back through to 2nd, another damage limitation ride behind Ben and Tom Birchall, while Holden and Wilkes were left to maintain their gap to Stroyer and Rousseau for a place on the podium. A disastrous weekend for Laurie and Dealey was compounded by their retirement on lap 5, dropping them to 7th in the championship behind the consistent Blackstock and Rosny. Ben and Tom Birchall effectively have a race in hand over Päivärinta and Kainalainen with a 25-point advantage built at a rate of 5 points per race. The closest battle in the series standings between Team Stroyer and Silicon Barnes Racing, Holden and Wilkes beating Stroyer and Rousseau for a 4th successive race to narrow the gap. Three main championship fights are still to be resolved in the remaining 3 rounds of the 2017 World Championship, and each has started to develop into a duel in the race to the season finale. In the battle for 5th position, Team SLR seemingly dropped out of contention after a challenging weekend in Hungary that now leaves them 17 points adrift.
I'm not expecting too much because I have a new passenger, or he has just come out of retirement for the last 3 years. And we have made some changes to the bike after the first practice. Maybe if we can go up 1 or 2 places, maybe 3, then it's going to be good.
Yeah, Scott Laurie's fellow countrymen Blackstock and Rosny were the main beneficiaries of the LCR Suzuki's retirement in the Pannonia Ring Gold Race, moving above them in the standings for the first time with a pair of 6th place finishes. They sit 9 points back from Grabmuller and Lavarelle, one of only 4 outfits to have consistently notched a double-figure tally in every 2017 race. This season is the first in which all teams are riding the 600cc engine. I think that is a good thing, and hopefully it will work out that way for all. But the biggest problem is that the fastest are 3 seconds ahead of the main group, so it's hard for us to stay positive. Meanwhile, the race for the final step on the championship podium had continued to tighten up in Hungary, leaving two principal rivals separated by just 4 points. Holden and Wilkes and Team Stroyer are among 4 teams to have tasted the champagne this season. But with 4 successive such podium finishes, Holden and Wilkes have now recovered ground lost in their round 1 retirement to put home rider Benny Stroyer under pressure in Assen. This round is obviously important for us, but particularly as we try to hold on to 3rd place. There are only 4 points to Holden and Wilkes, so it's pretty close now, and I need a good finish. With a 32-point gap to Stroyer and Russo, reigning champions Päivärinta and Kainalainen look certain to take 2nd overall. But any ambitions of retaining the title may well rest on misfortune for the Birchall Racing Yamaha. The Finns have been unable to match their rivals' pace at any stage this season. I like to win, but there is one team a second a lap faster than the others, so I don't think there is any chance of better than 2nd place for us. We're closing on the final in Rijeka, so I think if we can keep finishing 2nd, we should take 2nd overall. Unbeaten in 5 races and never headed for much more than a lap, Ben and Tom Birchall have the outright pace and the points advantage to match. Race finishes and reliability will be their focus from here.
Yeah, it's important because we've got a good points lead, but you know it's not enough to say it's secure yet. So the result's really important, that we get maximum points if we can, and you know just be careful if not.
Round 5 of the 2017 FIM Sidecar World Championship. In front of over 90,000 spectators at one of the most prestigious venues visited this season. The form book closely respected in qualifying. The top 4 on the grid separated by a massive near 4-second margin, and you'd anticipate the top 5 being a match for each of the last 3 races. A full look at the qualifying timesheet then, where the closest contest was for the slots on the 2nd row of the grid, behind the big 3, Stroyer and Russo lining up alongside Grabmuller and Lavarelle, wildcards Founds and Schmitz missing out in 6th. The 6th race of the 2017 FIM Sidecar season gets underway. A customary fast start from Päivärinta and Kainalainen, who make the early break. Holden and Wilkes moving across to block Stroyer and Russo, the Dutchman, swinging the machine back to the inside, but missing out in the run to turn 1. Ben and Tom Birchall managed to pull alongside Päivärinta and Kainalainen before getting blocked out on the entrance to the long right-hander. The Finns taking command of this first lap once again. Founds and Schmitz coming through well off the line, and they now make another move down the inside of Stroyer and Russo, further back offline around the northern loop. The outfit's filtering on to the Veenslang for the first time. Only Remsen Shorter missing after a problem before the start. Päivärinta and Kainalainen lead. Great getaway for them, but Ben and Tom Birchall really stretching their legs on the straight, ducking down the inside of Päivärinta and Kainalainen to recapture the lead. Stroyer and Russo have also now recovered. Founds and Schmitz conceding the 2 positions gained off the line. Blackstock and Rosny next to try and make their way through. A group of 3 outfits further back, headed by Grabmuller and Lavarelle, who are back in 5th, as down the inside now come Blackstock and Rosny on Founds and Schmitz for 6th position. Through turn 9, Ben and Tom Birchall unable to really break clear up front, with another strong opening lap for Päivärinta and Kainalainen. Founds and Schmitz managed to hold P6 through turn 9, but Blackstock and Rosny are coming again as they reach the end of lap 1. The top 4 outfits packed closely together. Grabmuller and Lavarelle directly ahead of the duel, and Blackstock and Rosny have made it. A bold move into the Geert Timmer curve. Founds and Schmitz moved offline and down to 7th. So at the end of the opening lap, it's Ben and Tom Birchall who lead. Half a second clear of Päivärinta and Kainalainen, and a second up on Holden and Wilkes in 3rd. Home outfit Team Stroyer sit 4th, and already 2 seconds clear of the best of the rest in 5th, Grabmuller and Lavarelle, with Blackstock and Rosny now moving through behind them. Päivärinta and Kainalainen looking punchy. They're down the inside around turn 4, but Ben and Tom Birchall holding track position. The Finns were then stuck on the outside line. Good early effort, though, from the reigning world champions against 2016's F2 title winners. Lorien Lawson there hold 8th position for Team SLR, ahead of Kimswenger and Lenert, but dropping back from the lead group quite dramatically around the Northern Loop for the second time. Meanwhile, Päivärinta and Kainalainen staying right with the leaders, faster through the first sector of lap number 2 as well. Stroyer and Russo now closing right up on Holden and Wilkes, a 1/10 of a second faster in the first sector, and that's where the battle is now for third. Holden and Wilkes unable to keep up with Päivärinta and Kainalainen. Stroyer and Russo getting a great run down the inside into turn 10, but not quite able to find a way through, for now at least. And so far, Holden and Wilkes have proven themselves faster in a straight line. Stroyer and Russo seemingly later on the brakes. But the British duo then with greater traction pulling away, and the top 4 positions seem to have stabilised as they come back into the stadium section through the Git Timmer curve to complete lap 2. A new fastest lap of the race for Ben and Tom Birchall, a 1:44.8 gains them 0.2 of a second over Päivärinta and Kainalainen. Still less than a second separating them, but the Finns need to strike quickly here before the Yamaha runners pull too far clear. Holden and Wilkes maintaining third place, but Stroyer and Russo gaining 0.2 on that last lap. Few real hard braking areas on this fast-paced circuit, and that makes overtaking more challenging without straight-line speed, which appears to be the LCR Honda's problem for the moment, lacking outright pace compared to the Kawasaki runners ahead of them. Still Holden and Wilkes in third then, Stroyer and Russo fourth, the race splintering into groups, as we expected to be fair after qualifying, and matching the pattern of the last few races, particularly that close fight for the final step on the podium. Päivärinta and Kainalainen here, closer to Ben and Tom Birchall than they have been in the majority of the races this season, the leaders unbeaten in 2017. And here's that battle for third position. The two outfits who have shared third place between them in each of the 5 races so far, and who are currently separated by just 4 points in the championship. Third place here would move Holden and Wilkes to within a point of the Provisional Series podium. Benny Stroyer, though, desperate to return to the podium at his home Grand Prix on the circuit, where he took his last race victory back in 2015. No shortage of wins for Ben and Tom Birchall, taking advantage of a full season on 600cc machinery last year to hit the ground running under new regulations this season. But their advantage has very slowly narrowed in 2017 so far. This has certainly been the closest battle for top spots so far this season. Still less than a second between the top 2 as we come into lap 5. Päivärinta and Kainalainen actually faster than the Birchall brothers last lap around. A new personal best from the Finns as they remain just short of a second back. Not close enough to overtake for the moment, but doing well to keep up with them and try to force an error. The ongoing race for third seems to have settled down somewhat, around a second between Holden and Wilkes and Stroyer and Russo at the end of lap 4. 1:46.3 there for the Silicon Barnes Racing Kawasaki, compared to a 1:46.7 for Team Stroyer. On towards the high-speed turn 6, Päivärinta and Kainalainen visibly closing. We may just have a race on our hands here. 0.4 of a second gained in the first sector. Päivärinta and Kainalainen appear to have found a second wind. Holden and Wilkes still holding off Stroyer and Russo further back in the battle for third. But Team Stroyer coming back at them. A new personal best first sector, but still no way through. And again, Holden and Wilkes faster at top speed to pull away down the straights, and therefore into all of the best overtaking zones. A gold race distance, 17 laps, so still plenty of time for passing. So far the race has just been warming itself up. The outfit's no doubt thinking about maintaining their tyres to the finish as well. If the gaps are still narrow in the closing stages, the best preserved set may well determine positions. And a new fastest lap of the race on lap 5 for Päivärinta and Kainalainen. Ben and Tom Birchall doing well to maintain the bulk of their advantage with a new personal best. The Birchall brothers leading at the end of each of the opening 5 laps after that successful pass on Päivärinta and Kainalainen on lap 1. The Finns have remained with them since, still Holden and Wilkes in third. A new personal best for them to pull out another 0.2 over Stroyer and Russo. Radmuller and Lavarelle still an isolated 5th, the only position change behind them. Founds and Schmitz moving back past Blackstock and Rosny, leaving the top 8 positions as they were on the grid. Great pace being shown up front, particularly when you consider that the 1000cc outfits of last season were only 2 seconds a lap faster and Ben and Tom Birchall have already cut almost 3 seconds from their fastest lap in the F2 World Trophy from last year. A change of engine for them in 2017, but it hasn't affected their performance, and they have been unbeaten in international competition now since back in 2015. Pekka Päivärinta, the first ever Finn to win the World Championship when he took the crown back in 2008. 4 subsequent titles to his name, including a 2016 success alongside latest passenger Kirsi Kainalainen. Retaining number 1 status looks out of their reach this year, though, already 25 points back, and with Ben and Tom Birchall starting to stretch away again here up front, particularly in the middle sector, where they've gained the most over the Finns so far this afternoon. Now moving on towards lap 7, Päivärinta and Kainalainen with their brief resurgence halted, at least for now, as the gap stabilises up front and the Birchall brothers respond. Holden and Wilkes, meanwhile, have gained another 0.3 of a second on that lap over Stroyer and Russo, consolidating 3rd position. Radmuller and Lavarelle still running 5th, over 3 seconds a lap slower than race-leading pace, as they said in pre-race that they expected to be. But this is a good position for them in terms of holding on to that 5th place overall, with wildcard runners Fownes and Schmidt set to take points from both Team SLR and Dave Holden Racing. Up front, the 2 red and white liveried machines surging on, running a second a lap faster than the pair of duelling outfits behind them. Päivärinta and Kainalainen still faster in that first sector, but the Birchall brothers far more comfortable around the rest of the circuit. Stroyer and Rousseau showing some real determination, urged on by the grandstands as the only team, of course, with Dutch representation, and making up a second in the first sector alone. Holden and Wilkes getting off to an inexplicably slow start to lap 7, and their rivals keen to take advantage. Stroyer and Rousseau actually looked almost hemmed in around turns 10 and 11 there, as though they couldn't go in as deep as they wanted. Held up by the Silicon Barnes racing machine, only for Holden and Wilkes to pull clear once again on one of the faster portions of the circuit as it weaves its way back towards the start-finish straight. No answer for Stroyer and Rousseau so far in the battle for 3rd position. The full length of a straight now between 2nd and 3rd places, but the gap then to Stroyer and Rousseau behind, hovering at around half a second. Holden and Wilkes setting their slowest lap of the race so far. They're on lap 7, need to find their feet swiftly on this lap or fall prey to their main series rivals, who again are gaining into the Northern Loop and make a dive down the inside into turn 3, going for the shortest way round. Holden and Wilkes run deeper, building up their momentum for a better exit and hold on. The closest Stroyer and Rousseau have got so far then to taking the position down the inside through the series of right-handers that open the lap, but Holden and Wilkes maintain the place. And this is where they've started to build a buffer down the Vainslag and away to safety once again. Home hopes of Benny Stroyer stepping onto the podium, not looking good at the moment. He just can't get alongside at the end of any of the straights, and then gets trapped behind, unable to use his clearly superior cornering speed. Back in the pack, meanwhile, the battle for 9th and 10th positions. Graham Pitt having passed Kim Svenga and Lenertz on lap 5, now coming under pressure, whilst also attempting to chase down Lorien Lawson up ahead, the other main fight for 3rd. This situation clearly unchanged. As we head past the half-race distance, Stroyer and Rousseau unable to make much of an impression. The Dutchman will be becoming frustrated here. You sense there's more speed being kept at bay. And all the while, he can see the 2 race-leading sidecars, specks on the horizon as they pull clear. Holden and Wilkes with a bit more of an advantage this lap around, and a no great threat at present. Stroyer and Rousseau not as threateningly quick through the first sector as they have been previously, probably as a result of getting held back through turns 4 and 5. The gap between the top 2 now as large as it has been all race. Over 1.5 seconds at the end of lap 9. Ben and Tom Birchall gaining half a second on lap 8 and another 10th last time around. Holden and Wilkes 14 seconds back from that fight, holding back Stroyer and Rousseau in the battle for 3rd position. Both outfits making their way into the Northern Loop once again, and opportunities dwindling with every passing lap. You can see how much later under braking Stroyer and Rousseau are willing to be, and the extent to which they gain through the slower corners, but there aren't enough of them to change the order as the pair again run out of room. A slightly different approach this time. Stroyer and Rousseau running wider, trying to build up their momentum, but then it's immediately back onto another straight with their hard work undone. Gray and Pitt coming in to start another lap. They haven't been able to drop Kims-Wenger and Lenert since passing them. The race for 9th position will surely go right the way to the checkered flag as the two outfits prove themselves evenly matched. Likewise positions 3 and 4, where it's a question of who has the most stamina and who saved the most tyre as well, to be honest, for the final laps. Holden and Wilkes will really regret their first round retirement, a brake problem leading to a spin into the Le Mans gravel while they were chasing Päivärinta and Kainalainen. It's left them chipping away at a 16-point margin at a rate of 3 points per race ever since. Another 3 they're set to gain here in Assen. Into the final lap, the battle for third starting to settle down, and the race-leading squabble seemingly won, with Päivärinta and Kainalainen backing off their pace in the closing laps. Holden and Wilkes maintaining greater consistency than Stroll and Russo, who seem to have run out of steam. Benetton Birchall have negotiated traffic much more successfully than Päivärinta and Kainalainen, and opened out a lead of just under 7 seconds as they come up now to lap all the way through to 9th position. Gray and Pitt now directly behind them on track. Kims-Wenger and Lenert having exchanged positions twice, now relegated back down to 10th. Well, only 2 races remain after this penultimate weekend of the campaign, the Croatian Grand Prix, moving from its traditional June date to September to become the new season finale. 50 points will be up for grabs with a sprint and gold race in Rijeka. But Ben and Tom Birchall are set to need just 21 of them as they will open up a 30-point lead. The Birchall Racing Yamaha comes round the final turns to win in Assen. Great ride from start to finish, under more pressure than they have been at any other stage this season. Päivärinta and Kainalainen home for 2nd position, maintain the fastest lap of the race to the finish. Most of the outfits having found their peak on lap 5 before tailing off. Here are Holden and Wilk coming through to claim 3rd. Comfortable in the end from Stroll and Russo, who miss out on a place on the podium by just over 4 seconds. No catching Ben and Tom Birchall, able to respond each time their advantage was cut, and putting one hand on the trophy with a 6th consecutive victory. Päivärinta and Kainalainen have gradually improved their pace through the 2017 season, and a mere 7-second deficit to Ben and Tom Birchall is a highly respectable result over a gold race distance.
Yeah, I just kept getting double notes on my board, so I knew it were Benny, but I never actually saw him, so I was just riding my own race and trying to keep in front.
It's the first time we've been able to follow very close to the Birchall, so it has been a good weekend for Pekka and I. Last race there was a big gap, and this time only a small one, so it is a big step forward, but I would still prefer to win.
It was good, yeah. It was a good fight. Pekka was pushing all the time. I couldn't relax at all, and then just managed to get a little gap, and I think the back markers probably helped a bit. So yeah, it's great. It's good. The championship starts to close up, and what a great crowd. You know, it's an honour to be racing in front of such a good crowd and a great place.
5 successive third-place finishes have recovered the ground lost with a first-round spin for Holden and Wilkes, moving them to within a point of Stroll and Russo in the battle for 3rd in the championship. But with a 30-point series lead, even a pair of 5th-place finishes in Rijeka will be enough to crown Ben and Tom Birchall 2017 World Champions.